Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is slowly creeping up to be my most anticipated RPG of this year. Not only did they move the release date up, which I thought was a great idea to avoid some of the competition in February, not only are they giving out review codes 4 weeks prior to the launch of this game, which is only now about a month away, even less, but they also just allowed a lot of content creators to get their hands on for the final preview of this game, and they have raving reviews. So much so that I'm starting to think this is going to be the game that breaks this franchise into the mainstream. Same way that Monster Hunter World did, or that Elden Ring did, for example, or even Baldur's Gate 3. Now granted, maybe not to the same extent, but I think it's going to do something similar to what those games did for those franchises and those genres in general. But before we get into what everybody is saying about this upcoming release, thank you guys so much for 930 subscribers. If you are new to the channel and you like gaming news, gaming reviews for RPGs, action adventure games, etc., please like and subscribe if you do like the video that you see here. Now, let's get into the reviews. Now, getting into what I'm most excited for about this game, it's an immersive experience within an open world that reacts to your player's decisions and has consequences based on what you choose as a character, both in quests and the open world. And pretty much everything that we've been seeing so far has proved that this is going to be amazing in this game, and one of the pinnacles of that type of immersive experience in this genre as a whole. Reputation systems where people are going to treat you differently, where you might be flogged or branded or executed because of the different crimes you're committing.
If you have a bad reputation, NPCs will treat you less favorably.
I've got my eye on you, you swine.
Sometimes outright denying their services to you. But don't worry, there are some rather controversial ways that deal with the church that will allow you to wipe your sins clean and clear that bad reputation right up. When you're caught committing crimes in this game, though, the more serious the crime, the harsher the punishment. You can even find yourself being branded or even executed.
All right, let's go. The executioner will beat it out of you with a cane.
Or, on the other hand, there might be people that are looking out for you, trying to tell you that you need to get the hell out of here before you can be committed for some of these crimes.
Now, many, of course, would call for the guards, but some of them were actually pretty chill and looking out for me.
Can I help you? You should go before people begin to suspect you of stealing.
On top of this, if you smell bad, people are going to react to that. Say it smells like absolute shit. They're going to treat you differently because of the dirt or smell that you have on your body.
If your Henry is dirty and stinky, this can and will affect the way NPCs treat and respond to you.
Can you smell that too?
Oof, it stinks like something died here.
Even all the way to details, if you steal something and put on that person's equipment and they see you with that on, they are going to say that you're wearing their equipment and get pissed off at you.
There's this one time where I snuck into a guard's room. I stole and equipped the boots out of his trunk, and when I left the room, he actually knew that I was wearing something of his.
Stop! You're wearing my thing! Give up!
And this is exactly what I wanted to see in this game. I wanted to see this in action in any different town with any NPCs that you do come across, and it seems like they have done this extremely well, and I am so excited for that type of immersive experience. And getting even into the open world and the freedom that you have directly after the prologue, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can choose to go on a specific quest. You can choose to go and talk to different NPCs and get side quests and adventures to go on, or you can just explore the open world and do pretty much whatever you want to do, stealing horses, causing this havoc that I just talked about in the towns, and really all of this is directly up to you as the player in terms of what experience you would like to have. You're not going to be on guardrails here in terms of the fun that you actually want to have with this game.
You start off in this small village or town, but it's really up to you if you want to focus on the main quest, side quests, if you want to work on Henry's progression of his stats and skills, or perhaps you just want to go explore and run off into the horizon. The first hour or so in the open world, I didn't even care about quests. I was stealing horses, stealing food, fist-fighting innocent village folks, becoming the first serial killer of the local inn. The list goes on.
So many games nowadays have the illusion of this freedom, where they say you can have this freedom, they say you can have these choices, but in the end, you're just really making choices that end up in the same exact way every single time. And this game, from the jump, aims to do completely the opposite of that illusion of freedom, where it actually is giving you whatever the hell choice that you want to make in any situation. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the combat. Coming from someone who didn't play the first Kingdom Come Deliverance game like me, I was a little bit iffy on how this is going to feel, because I've always heard that the combat was very unique, very fun, but also a bit clunky and very different, obviously, to any other RPG out there, because you're striking in a specific direction, trying to make sure that your enemy is not blocking in that specific direction, as well as yourself blocking in the direction that your enemy might be swinging. You're trying to break off different pieces of armor, and you're trying to continuously outplay your opponent in that way, in a combat system that's, again, not similar to anything else we've ever seen other than in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, as well as maybe For Honor a little bit it's similar to. And I've always heard that in the first game, there was a lot of stuff that was locked behind later tutorials in the game that you just didn't necessarily know how to do them, and the game didn't explain it well. And in this game, it looks to be the most polished version and the most explained version for new and returning players as well that we have seen in this franchise up to date.
Put it very simply, Warhorse have done something special here. They've taken the core of KCD1's combat system and have improved, well, just about everything.
All, again, just feels like a really refined version of the first game, which can also largely be said of combat. Again, mostly the same system here, but a few refinements that make it a bit easier. So they, as an example, trimmed down the part system. So basically, when you're in combat, you'll aim your weapon in a given direction, which is where you'll be swinging from. And you can string these together later on to make combos once you get Henry back up to speed, is my understanding. And while this particular system, I think, was a little contentious for a lot of people, in this instance, I think it is, again, much better because they do a good job of tutorializing it this time around, as opposed to some of the mechanics being hidden behind a sort of second tutorial later on in the game that they don't do a great job of telegraphing. Here, both from Henry being in a better starting position on top of, again, a better tutorial overall, it's a little easier to manage, and I think it'll be easier for people to get into it, though I imagine, due to its overall nature of being just the same as the original in large part, it still might likely be a contentious one.
But now granted, like Mortismal just said, if you don't like this combat style, it might not be something that this game is going to immediately make you like this version of combat within RPGs. However, at least for the people that did like it and for new people coming in, they have polished it, they have refined it, and they have simplified it in ways that returning and new players can experience the best version of. And in addition, what a lot of people haven't played yet are the different guns and crossbows and some of those other ranged weapons and other play styles, because obviously a sword is going to have different abilities than something like a club or a mace will. So we'll definitely have to wait and see how those play into the whole situation of combat and how they feel and if they're more overpowered than other weapons, etc. But as of right now, most people are saying it's in a very good spot if you do enjoy this style. Transitioning away from the combat for now, I now want to talk about the actual progression, how you are going to build your character to fit and live in this world in the way that you want, and I'm happy to say there is a ton of stuff here. Not only do you have skills that will level up as you do different things out in the world, and you have a ton of different primary and secondary skills to level up, and as you level up your skills, you're going to be getting things called perk points that you can put into specific perks that are going to be more powerful than just obviously leveling up your skills, that have some very interesting dynamics to them.
Now, taking a look at a couple of the main level perks right here, we have a local hero perk, which gives you a +2 to strength, agility, vitality, and speech when you're in an area where you have a good reputation. Another example of a main level perk is the pacifist perk, which gives you a bonus to your non-combat skills and speech when you don't kill anyone for 12 in-game hours.
I absolutely love this more traditional version of RPG progression where you can fit into the world in the way that you want to. If you don't want to focus on combat for your character, you can focus on speech and persuasion and your charisma, or even just a full pacifist build where you're just focused more on your crafting and more on how you communicate with different characters in the environment, and maneuver through it that way. Or you can just go full ass battle mode and just put all of your different perk points and level up all of your different skills in terms of the combat skills that you do have, stealth, etc., and really refine your character the way that you want your character to live in this immersive world. Now, the last kind of pillar to an RPG that I want to talk about that I think this game is doing really well is the dialogue, the narrative, even including the story, which I'm trying to stay away from because I didn't play the first game. I want to experience this second game in the story in full without spoiling myself, which most of the reviews out there don't have it spoiled, but they talk about how all of these things are actually very good.
Narratively, the game's blown me away so far. I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything like that, but apart from some small janky character movements and bugs and cutscenes, the dialogue is absolutely outstanding. The voice acting is some of the best out there, and when you combine that with the game's excellent music, it always feels like you're on an adventure of this really grand scale. Like you feel part of this grand epic tale that's being told, even when you're not particularly doing anything grand at the moment.
Specifically with the narrative and dialogue, there are tons of different options here.
Now, players will have the opportunity with many NPCs to explore some rich history, or perhaps you want to just stick to the more quest-focused dialogue. It's up to you how deep you want to get with it. And there's even plenty of fun callbacks for players of the first game, letting you discuss past actions such as your relationship with Teresa, or who won a duel between you and Hans. KCD2 dialogue in general and overall does offer plenty of real gameplay consequences, like sparking or avoiding combat. Many of the more consequential dialogues are done through using Henry's persuasion skills, such as speech, charisma, might, coercion, domination, and dread. These dialogue skills, like many other aspects of this game, are quite nuanced, as you have to consider what skill fits the situation or NPC that you're talking to. You can't just rely on your highest stat. Sometimes a lower level skill may actually yield better results for you. For example, trying to intimidate a guard while you're wearing peasant clothes and carrying no weapon likely isn't going to work regardless of your might level.
That is exactly what I wanted from this RPG. Every quest to have different ways to complete it and different endings depending on how you do choose to complete it. As well as characters that have different personalities that you can relate to, you can talk to in game and learn more about. That is what I wanted, and that seems to be what they have delivered on here, at least from what people have played so far.
Or you can optionally continue talking with somebody. Sometimes those completely optional dialogue paths would end up being a few additional minutes of dialogue and even open up additional choices that weren't otherwise available. I really enjoyed this. It felt like it opened up nice roleplay options to try and push people even further in certain instances, and overall, for the first several hours of this game, I really felt like I could play as the type of person I wanted to be, whether...
Now, these were the four main things that I wanted to see if they could deliver on, because in my opinion, if an RPG delivers on combat, delivers on character progression, as well as open world and open world exploration and freedom of your character's choice. On top of that, a good narrative, good characters, and dialogue options that change up how you do the quests and the outcome of the quests, as well as the outcome of the entire world, with all of that surrounding reactivity that this game is supposed to have. I think if you deliver on that, you're gonna have a pretty damn good open world RPG. It really seems like Warhorse Studios made the game they really wanted to make when they made the first one. From everything that I know, and granted I have not played the first one, it was a little bit too clunky, a little bit too unpolished, hard for newcomers to really come in and understand, and it feels like they brought all of that over, refined it, simplified it, polished it for both newcomers and people who are veterans to the series can experience in the best possible way. Now granted, I'm glazing the hell out of this game. This game's gonna come out, and it's not from a AAA studio, so I am expecting some bugs and glitches where we actually haven't heard a lot of people talk about hardly any bugs or glitches aside from some stuttering here and there, so hopefully that's not the case, but I'm definitely expecting that in my playthrough. I'm going to review the game for myself, so hopefully it's the experience that people are saying that it is, and hopefully I have that experience as well as a newcomer into this series who didn't play the first game. And there are so many things that I didn't even talk about here in this video that are set to be in this game, like hunting, for example, all of the different persuasion systems within the game when you're talking to NPCs NPCs, all of the different crafting, which I kind of touched on in the skills and perks section that you can pretty much do in this game. So make sure you go check out other YouTubers' videos like Mortismal, Wolfheart, etc. that actually have played this game and gotten their hands-on experience to talk about some of these different mechanics that are in the game in more depth. But from what I'm seeing right now, it looks absolutely incredible and I can't wait to play it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a comment down below if you are as excited for this game as I am. If this is one of your most anticipated games of the year, your most anticipated, or this is one you're going to pass on and why. I would definitely love to hear what you guys have to say down below. Like this video if you like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!